see you. Really nice to see you. Anne's here. Hi, Gwen. So glad you're back with us. I really appreciate everyone. I really appreciate everyone taking time because I know it's a hard time for a lot of people. So it's really nice. Hi, so glad you're back. Yay. This is wonderful. We've got Darlene. Darlene.
Yeah, Darlene's joining us.
Yeah, we haven't seen Darlene in a while. And we have Maria. Hi, Darlene. So good to see you. And Maria, you don't have to feel pressure to come on camera. You can stay off camera. But if you want to unmute and say hi, we'd love to hear from you. It's just really up to you. This is very casual, no pressure whatsoever. We just want you to come, enjoy, learn, and get some really wonderful energy from the group. Mel is here. Yay, Mel. Hello, Mel.
Hello, hello.
Yay, so good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. Hey, gorgeous. So we should get into this. First of all, let's all just take a minute to celebrate that we all came. We found the time, and we're all open to whatever we're going to create today. And if we have time, I want to share a really cool meditation called the Sun and the Moon meditation. Those of you who took my Animal Reiki for Reiki Practitioners class might be familiar with it, but for those of you who don't, yeah, and I know Darlene knows it, but those of you who don't, then you'll be in for a really cool treat. Welcome, Brittany. We're so happy you are here. So let's get started, right, Jamie?
Yes, absolutely.
Distant. Yay. Oh, yeah. And you know what? Brittany, great. Thanks for using the chat. Use the chat as much as possible. If we're talking, go ahead. One of us will read the chat. So no worries there. We'll just pop it out here. But feel free to use the chat, ask questions. And then also feel free if you want to ask a question when we're talking, just raise your hand physically, or you can use the emoji. You can unmute also and just say, excuse me, if you're not on camera. Oh, great. We have Wilma here too.
Yep, Wilma's joining us.
So, Jamie, I know you do a lot of distant sessions. What's your experience with doing distant sessions with, a group of suffering animals? Like, let's say, because we're going to talk a little bit about the orcas, like, or, performance animals, zoo animals, circus animals.
Right. Yeah, I find that for me, distance is easier, especially if the animals are in a bad situation or whatever, because I'm not right in that situation, in that energy. And it's easier for me to keep my focus where it needs to be from a distance. Even like shelter dogs, there was one who was self-mutilating, and it was much easier for me to offer Reiki and stay in this beautiful space of love and light and be able to offer it from a distance, because when I'm up close, then, I can see what they're going through, and I can, if they're in pain or they're limping or whatever it is. So I remove myself from that. And so I like distance a lot, and the animals really respond to it.
And I think it's a lot easier too, if you're doing a group of animals, like let's say again, like the orcas or the whales, you don't have to be right there. You can just shine your light. And so we've talked about this many times, how animals really, and then Brittany says, yes, affects empath greatly when up close. Yeah, that is a really good point, Brittany, that a lot of people are empaths. I mean, all of us here are, and it can be really overwhelming. But thankfully, through the Let Animals Lead method, we have lots and lots of tools that can help ground us and remind us that we're all light. All of us are light. And animals, I think, understand that better than we do. So, if we see an animal that's suffering, we see suffering. We see their light maybe last. Whereas animals see us, they see our light. They would see suffering last. So we have to train ourselves to see the light first. Yes, they're suffering. Yes, of course, they're suffering. We're suffering. right? I remember really important message that Makoto, the caged black leopard, gave to Kathleen one time when she was meditating with him was basically, she's in her own cage. He's free. His mind is free. His spirit is free. But she is trapped. She's the trapped one, not him, as he sits because he loved where he lived, right? In Florida, under a tree, just beautiful place. But we have to remember that we think we're humans, we're up here, we can cure suffering, we can cure all these things that we can't, because the suffering is deep within us. We can't even see it or touch it sometimes because we're so used to suffering that we're not even that in tune with it. So if we can first get ourselves into that place of, you know what, I am light. And the easiest way to do that is just to stop, breathe, focus, let go, do it through the precepts, right? For today only, do not anger, do not worry, be humble, be honest, be true to your way of being, same thing, and show compassion to yourself and to others. So in that space of the precepts, now we can let go of our worry, right? We can let go of our concern, and now we can focus on the light. So even if you don't know or Reiki or know the let animals lead method of animal Reiki, you can still say the precepts and focus on love and light in your heart. And now when you sit to dedicate your session, to dedicate your energy to all the beings that are suffering, now you can send love and light and not have it be dimmed by thoughts of suffering, thoughts of pain, thoughts of, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, this will never change. We never know what can happen. Miracles happen all the time. And animals show us that. And animals are here to teach us the lesson that in this moment, everything is fine. So when we sit and we dedicate a session or a meditation to animals, in this moment, in that very exact moment, all is well. So even in the midst of suffering, in that moment, all is well, because your light is connecting with their light. And together, what happens? It compounds, it gets brighter, right? So in your light, there is an increase in their light. And it's really important for us to remember that we are able to give this beautiful gift of love and light to all beings, but most especially to animals, because when we connect, they feel it immediately. They feel it so quickly. So I have a really cool story to share, and I want to open it up to all of you and how you do distant Reiki and how you support animals that might be suffering and what your viewpoints are. But I was contacted through Sarah from a man, such a sweet little man. He is an Alaska appliance repairman, and he found he had a gift for animal communication. And it's not something he asked for, he just has it, and the animals talk to him. And he was sharing some really cute stories about how he goes into people's homes and the animals want to talk to him. And he's like, I've got to work. And it was just so adorable. But he had the orcas from SeaWorld start to come to him. And they were coming to him so much that he decided to go down to SeaWorld in San Diego and connect with them. And he did. And he said, just intuitively, he decided that he would meditate with these orca. And Michelle, we didn't say welcome to you. And so I just want to say hi really quickly. And so when he did that, one of the whales got super still. The whale that he was meditating got super still. And one of the workers said, oh my God, something's wrong with the whale. He never does this. He got really super still. I got to go get the vet. And so he got really upset and went, oh my gosh, I can't do this with the whales where people can see. I'll just do it at night or outside of their purview so that these whales can feel that relaxation. So at any rate, he called me when I was driving. I had to drive from Portland, Oregon to San Jose, California on 2 weeks ago. And it's like a 11 and a half with stops drive, 11 and a half hours. And I was going to do it straight. I did do it straight. But I left at 8 and he called me at 9 and we started talking about the orcas. And I told him I'm not an animal communicator. He just wanted to know how Sarah could help him. And I said, well, we do animal Reiki. So we can definitely help by sending energy to these beautiful beings. I said, but we don't do animal communication, but I can put you in contact with an animal communicator that I know that just wrote a book about a beautiful conversation she had with the elephants. And what the elephant's message basically was, focus on your light, right? We all have to focus on our light. So I'm talking to him about the orcas, and I'm feeling really good, right? My heart is just expanding. Even though these animals are suffering, it's still the opportunity to connect, shine light, and help them feel supported was really exciting. So we talked for about an hour, and he told me all about these whales and what he experiences. And I was just feeling like, oh, so much expansion. So we get off the phone after an hour, and I'm driving. And even like, usually when you're driving, you know how like you drive for 3 hours, your body starts to ache and everything. And I was just like, oh, okay. Literally 11 and a half hours was like nothing. I wasn't bored. I didn't really even hit any traffic. I felt good in my body. And he texted me and said, by the way, the orcas are so excited. He said they came to me and they're so happy, and they're really happy, excited about this connection. And then since then, the animal communicator and this man, and oh my gosh, why his name is escaped, Bruce, they have connected with them, and they said the orcas are so excited about this new shift in energy with people sending. So in my classes, I've been asking them to send, to offer Reiki to the orcas. I'm asking all of you to offer Reiki to the orcas, but also to keep all of these beings, right? And it was just so, what I wanted to share with you, the reason I want to share this is because it's a simple shift in your perception of animals suffering to, I can help support their light, right? Completely different energy. Here I am, oh, they're suffering. What can I do? I'm just one person. I don't want, I don't want them to suffer, but what can I possibly do? All right. So there's that limitation. But over here, oh my gosh, I'm going to share my light. I'm going to share my love. I'm going to encourage others to share light and love. Now the orcas feel this, and it doesn't matter what's happening on the outside, right? This very physical experience, it's what's happening in their heart and that expansion of light. So I've heard a few different messages in these past 2 weeks about how excited they are to connect. So at the end, we're going to do a really fun meditation, the sun and moon meditation, and we're going to dedicate the energy to the orcas. So I wanted to share that with all of you and to empower you to know that you are never helpless, right, Jamie? I know that you've experienced this too, and I'm not sure if you want to jump in here and say something like that.
No, absolutely. I think that it's easy for us to get caught up in the pain because we are, we're aware of our physical presence. We're very aware. I mean, even though we are vibrational beings, we're spiritual beings, we live in this physical world, and that's what seems real to us all the time. And so it's easy to mistake that, or just get caught up in that and get caught up in the physical reality. So the reality is, oh, they're in pain, and we humanize that, right? We think about, if I'm in pain, I'm suffering and I feel bad, and oh, they're feeling the same way, and what can I do to help them? And really, if we look at it from just as two spiritual beings, what a beautiful thing that is, because you're absolutely right. We support, what we learn in Let Animals Lead is that we support the animals' natural healing. We don't heal them. We're not going in to fix the situation, but we're going in to shine love and light and hold space and support the animal in whatever natural healing that is going to occur for them. So it's really beautiful. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing when we finally grasp that and realize we're not responsible for all this. We didn't cause all this pain in the world. We can't control it, and we can't cure it. And there's something very freeing about that.
I
But
love that.
we can support others in their own healing.
Yeah, that is really what, and that's a question I want to ask at the end too, that's coming up a lot. What are we? We're not healers, because in the traditional sense, yes, we're healers, but we're not. And so I want to have a conversation about that if we have time. But if not, maybe we can talk about that next week about what it is that we do and what do we call ourselves, right? It's a weird thing because we are offering this beautiful gift of emotional support. And remember, there's that saying, and I don't know if it's from yoga or what, the light in me reflects the light in you, right? The light in me sees the light in you. The light in me connects to the light in you. And that is really what we're doing on this deeper level. So on a surface level, yes, we're sitting with animals, we're sending love, and that's, yeah, Michelle, thanks. Yes, namaste. So we're on the surface level, it's like, oh, okay, we're feeling good, but on a deeper level, we are all connected. We are all connected. It is scientifically proven. And animals, I believe, understand that. And that at that light in our heart is where we are truly connected. We are all pure beings when we come here to this physical earth. And we all have that beautiful light within us. So if we can really, as animal Reiki practitioners and as people who want to be animal Reiki practitioners, oh, and Leah, I want to say hi to Leah. I thought I saw you jump on, but I didn't see where you went. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Leah's first time here, and I think it's Maria's as well. But anyway, so if we can focus on that energy of love, that is what's most powerful, not the energy, I need to fix you. Because what happens? I need to fix you. I need to help you. Oh, I'm up here, you're down here. Instead of, we're all suffering together. The orcas are suffering, yes, but we're suffering. We're in our own personal aquariums of hell in some ways, right? We suffer every single day. We have to deal with jerks. We have to deal with our own jerkiness inside. We have all kinds of stuff happening, right? And so we have our own suffering that's going on, and they have their suffering. But together, guess what? In the light, we all become more powerful, more hopeful, more loving, more compassionate. And that's a really beautiful space to be. So I want to open it up really quickly, unless you have something more to say about that, Jamie.
No, I don't. I'd love to hear what everybody else has.
Yeah.
Mel's got her hand up.
Okay,
Hello,
Mel.
everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to double check. So last time I was here, I told you guys that I went to this family adventures zoo thing, and it was very hard. I ended up doing a group Reiki session for them, in my home, distance session. And I visualized going around the whole area again and encompassing everyone that I met, all the animals that I met. And it was, I placed myself in the center of the place, like in each room. So I was in multiple rooms at the same time. But while I was doing that, the horses that I went to see a couple months ago wanted to join in. So I was also now in the middle of the barn because I could, it's easier when I've been somewhere because I can place myself there. And so I had all these different animals just join in on this. And it was just such an amazing experience because there was probably like 30, 40 animals that were all joined in. And it was the energy was just so great. And I was like, wow, I was totally taken back by how much love and amazing energy just came from all of them. Yeah.
I love that so much, because when we open our minds to the belief that we are all connected, and as soon as I think of an animal, they come, and maybe I don't even think of an animal, but I am in this beautiful space of openness and love and light. So animals come, and we all together support not only each other, but all beings, right? Because animals are more deeply connected on a different level. So even with the orcas in San Diego, Bruce said that the orcas in Texas, the orcas in Florida, they're all starting to come to him, right? Because they're all connected. I know that Kelly and I, when we went to Keepers of the Wild, we got that deep feeling that these animals were connected to the animals that care. and that they understood while we were there, which is why they were so open to us when we got there, because there is that deeper connection. So our minds are like this, right? We have limiting beliefs. Oh, only our energy only can go this far. Like, you've all heard the story. Well, you can't do distant Reiki at level 1. What? You're going to hit some invisible wall. You can only do Reiki at level 2. It's like your energy can go everywhere. Oh, come on. That's silly. But it's the same thing with our belief about how far can our light go? How far can our love go? When I think of an animal, do they really truly feel it? Yes, there have been so many different instances, just like what you experienced, Mel, where you connect and they feel it. And then you go see them and they know you because they've been connecting with you. So if we all did the orcas for, a few days in a row, and then we went down to San Diego, I will bet you $1 bajillion that they will connect with you because they're like, that's a friend. I recognize your energy. They don't need to see your physical body. That doesn't mean anything. It's your light, your love, that energy that you're sharing. And that is what they're connecting with. It's not, oh, there's, Gwen. She has short hair. She wears glasses. Okay, I recognize Gwen. No, it's Gwen's beautiful energy. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mel. Does anyone else, Kelly, you know what, before we open to everybody, Kelly's here, and Kelly is the Shelter Animal Reiki Association East Coast Director, for those of you who don't know, and would love to get her with, Lisa, yay, Beth, we all know her, yay, Annie. So Kelly, take it away.
Hi. Sorry, I had coming on late and then hopping on, so.
Oh, don't worry, no worries at all.
Yeah, it's just a great topic. And, you're reminding me when you're talking about care of when I was connecting with Lola, the bear, because all I could feel was like all the bear energy around me, because we have bears, especially this time of year, they'll be waking up. And so it was like I already, even though I'd never worked with her that closely before, because she's usually in her shelter when it's too cold down there. But there really was this feeling of like I could connect with all the bears, all the bears out there. And so it was really special to work with her. But the topic of animals passing has come up a lot for me recently. And I've worked with some animals who are transitioning, particularly, I was telling Beth this last weekend, this cat I'd been working with who for a couple of days straight, just like serious energy flow, which I don't always feel, a lot of times it's just very quiet and I just know it's connecting, it's working from experience, but just so much energy flowing. And then a couple of days after that, just everything kind of settled down and then she passed. And it was just such an amazing experience because normally I don't get that opportunity to really, feel that the way the energy is moving. And then, now, she's kind of ready to go. And then it starts to just slow down. And she's got all that she needed, really, balanced. And so it's been interesting because a lot of people have recently, just several people have just had questions about how the end of life has been for their animals and what they do and did they do the right thing. And so I don't think that you're asking about how do we describe ourselves, but we're not just healers, we're listeners, that we're we also can provide comfort to people who aren't sure if they did the right thing by just sharing that if it's coming from the heart, it's the right thing.
Right. So that was a separate subject. So we're talking about the distance, but I'm glad you like, and I want to segue on that for a minute. So the question, and we're going to talk about this at the Sarah meeting for those of you who are started. The question is, when we have confidence about what we're doing, about how we're sharing it, it makes a huge difference. So if I say, somebody says, what do you do? Oh, well, I do animal Reiki, but it isn't really this, it's not human, but and I have weakness, right? But if I can go in and go, I support the emotional needs of animals. Oh, how do you do that? I do that through meditation. Oh, okay. That's different. And so that's been the question that's been coming up. Just since Kelly brought it up, we'll talk about it a little bit. That's been the question that's coming up about what do we call ourselves? We're not healers, but we offer a really important thing. It's almost like hospice, but hospice, instead of end of life, it's for the fullest life. It's for the brightest light. It's for the most loving life, right? So, I mean, we could be love hospice workers. I don't know. Well, hospice is tied to death though. So we need a word like hospice where we say, this is what we do. This is who we are. I am a blah. And then kind of get through that. And it would help all of us, right? As we try to explain who we are. But for now we can say, I do meditation. I'm a meditation practitioner and I share love and light. So Kelly, you came on late, but what we were talking about is
That's why I
about,
hate coming on late. Like,
I know, I'm
totally
sorry.
missed the whole thing.
And I should have said that before I called on you. I'm so sorry. Because I didn't know at what point you came in. So what we're talking about is about the power of when we are in that space of love and light, which is like exactly what you were saying. Like, you know, when you're with passing animals that are passing, you don't focus on the negativity. Oh my gosh, they're leaving this world. Oh my gosh, are they in pain? You're focused on the love and the light. And when we do that, the connections like you experienced are so deep. So we were talking about when we're doing distant sessions for, let's say, like the orcas that are suffering and what we can do. And even though it seems overwhelming that we're only one person, that our love, our light can actually shine and create. So that's what I was saying about care and about Keepers of the Wild. So Kelly and I went to Keepers of the Wild, which is a wild animal park in Kingston, Arizona. And, you know, we go to CARE, which is a wildlife sanctuary in Florida. But when Kelly and I got there, after we'd been meditating, of course, we'd both been to CARE, you know, the animals at Keepers of the Wild were so open to us in a way that when we were doing the first tour, the managers were saying, oh my God, I can't believe, you know, how they're acting with you. And I don't know if you want to say a little bit about that, Kelly.
Yeah, it was really fascinating because the manager was saying that they're usually, coming up to the fence and, more active and everything, but they just were really quiet and peaceful. And I think, truly that was our connection even before we got there, of sitting and doing meditation with them before we even got to the park. And, just I think you put it really well when you were talking about the orcas, about how, everything is connected, and that, where it's a giant web, the trees already know that, right? The trees are in a giant web. They talk underground, and animals talk in their own energy. And so I really feel like, you kind of hit it on the head. I don't really need to expound on that.
But I love how you're saying it's like, we don't understand that web. Like, yeah, that the trees are a great example. They're all connected, right? Everything is probably connected, but we're just finding it out more and more because we are the really like clueless, ignorant ones, the beings, even though we can do all this tech and everything. And I mean, look where tech is getting us. We're getting self-driving cars that are crashing into each other. I mean, where is tech going to really get us? We start to lose connection with our heart and with our soul because we're constantly on our phones. We're constantly getting disconnected by tech. So
Right.
in this space, we can connect easily with all beings. And I think that the power of being connected at that heart and light level with the orcas and with all animals and beings is really powerful. So the main takeaway here is focus on your heart, focus on the light that you're creating within your heart, and then think about the animals and then send love. Don't think about, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're getting, I mean, they could be thinking that about us. Oh God, you poor suckers. It's like you're stuck in traffic. You're like breathing in all that toxic air. And so again, it's like we're suffering too. We just don't think we are. But if somebody who is coming down, like let's say an alien came down to us, who is all pure love and pure light and comes from a planet of pure love and pure light, they come down here and go, wow, how can you even exist? There's so much pain, right? Because anger is pain, worry is pain, fear is pain. It's all pain. We don't think we're in pain when we're worried, but it is pain. It's just emotional pain. And right up here in our heads and in our heart, right? Kokoro, your heart and your mind are connected. So much pain. So the animals, like that loving alien, probably look at us and go, wow, you're in so much pain. Which is why when we sit with them, they give us that blessing back. So yesterday, I'm teaching a level 3. And in both my classes, we're learning Reiju, right? So the spiritual blessing, it's the attunement you get when you do level 1 and level 2. And we're talking about Reiju. And, you know, and I was sharing with them, when we sit with an animal, we're getting a reiju, right? When we start to feel better from sitting with an animal, they are giving us a spiritual blessing. No, they're not using their little paws or their hooves to do little ritualistic things, because they don't need to. They are like a sui. They just sit with us and we feel healed. So we can do that, especially like Jamie was sharing earlier. It's easy to do it distant. You can focus on your heart. You can focus on love. And then you just share that with the orcas or with the whales or with the dolphins, with all of these animals who might be suffering. We can do that easily just through the distance. And that's the hack, right? You just go to that place of love and you think of them. And that's all that's needed. Keep focusing on love, keep focusing on thinking about them. Maybe you see the orcas swimming freely, you know, put positive, loving images out there, because that is what they receive. And I've told you, I've shared with you, like with Tigger and Pumpkin, when I met them for like an hour, and then a year later, because I had meditated with them, because every time I thought I was making it up, like, oh, we're in the jungle, oh, we're like swimming, oh, we're laying together, oh, I'm just a baby and they're big and I'm just with them, you know, we're running. When I got, you know, met them a year later, I was their best friend. I could call their name, they would come to me. How is that even possible? It's possible because in that web that I can't even see, we were connected, and we are still connected in that web. So all of you can do that. But the important part is, I didn't go to them and sit and go, oh, I'm so sad. Oh, Tigger and Pumpkin, you poor things, you're in it. No, it was, oh my gosh, I'm with tigers, and I could feel the tigers connect. It's like, oh my, or I thought I was making it up. But in retrospect, when I look back, I'm like, oh, wow, they really were connecting with me. So then I would meditate more and I'm like, oh, tigers. So I still bring them in. And when I feel that tiger energy, it's like, oh, thank you. Hello. So that's something that we all can do for ourselves and for those animals. It all comes down to love and light. Yes, in Reiki, we're learning all these different tricks and all these different meditations and all these different rituals. But really, what does it come down to? They all bring us down to love and light. So we'd like to open it up and hear from all of you. And anyone want to make a comment, Anne? Or yeah, okay, great. Anne.
First of all, I'd like to thank Kelly for saying we're not just healers, we're listeners. That is brilliant and beautifully said. And I like what you said about we support the emotional needs of animals. And I have just been saying, you know, when I'm asked, well, what does that look like? I sit or stand near them and simply hold a meditative space of unconditional support.
I love that, Anne. Love that.
And to Jamie's point about the efficacy of distance Reiki over in person, I've been working with the program horses at the local therapeutic riding place. And I mean, when you think about it, those horses in their paddocks are like slaves. Mm-hmm. And they're well taken care of physically, but people just come, take them out, go for a lesson or a lead line or whatever, and then back into their stall, and they don't know when they're going to be taken because the schedule is all different. And so the first time I went out there in person, I had one of the 7 horses even give me an ear. And so the commitment that I made with them is that I will be out there physically every 2 weeks, and every other week on the same day, I will do distance Reiki for each of the horses. So the second week I did the distance Reiki for each of them. And then the next week when I went out, I had like 3 of them at the fence waiting for me when I got there. And it's been wonderful. And what you said about our ability to focus. I mean, when I'm there in person, just like a shelter, people are coming and going and feeding, and guess what? Hay trumps Reiki, just saying. And there's a lot going on, and they're waiting to see, am I going to be called to work? So I actually, in the distance Reiki I do it at night when I know it's calm there. And boy, they connect through that. I've had unbelievable stuff coming in, and like you guys, I'm not an animal communicator, but they're showing me things that are going on with them. And now the vet's coming out on Friday to check out a jaw of one of them. And it's been remarkable. So I'm a huge fan of the power of distance Reiki.
Yay. I'm so glad you shared that. Thank you so much, Anne. Because I think that sometimes, a lot of times we get in our heads and we think this isn't working. I don't feel anything. You know, I'm sure I would feel something if they were connecting. No, you may not. So just focus on that love. Focus on just sharing that beautiful space of love. And I love, and you know, there are a lot of animals that are suffering. We don't think about it. Therapeutic animals, we don't think about them like we might the orcas that are working for the public, right? Where it's really obvious, but there are lots of animals out there who are working. Think of the sleigh dogs in Alaska. Think about, you know, horses that do the horse-drawn carriages in different cities. There are lots of working animals that don't get that emotional support. So think of yourself as a worker, where all you're doing is working, and then you go into a little cube and you rest. And then maybe you rest for a few days, but then you're working again. So there's no sense of emotional support, your heart support, right? Imagine us if we didn't have that heart support. We would start to die just a little bit every day. But what we can do, we can help ignite that light in the others. And so for humans, right, we put our human hats on. Yeah, but if I'm depressed here and Anne's there, I can't feel her stuff. You know, I'm not feeling better. Okay, well, that's because we're humans and we're deaf to energy. But animals are very sensitive to energy. So it's been proven time and time again, when we connect with them, when we think about them, boom, it's there. So you don't have to worry about that. Just send light and love and watch the miracles happen. And like I shared, how Bruce and the animal communicator, Barb, God, I can't remember Barb's last name, they both were like, the orcas are so happy. They're so happy for this connection, for this new light that's coming through. And that's only just a couple people, right? Imagine if we all start sharing about this and telling our students and sharing, send light and love. Imagine what could happen. And you don't know, anything could change. SeaWorld might get shut down, or they might decide, you know what? We want to bring in animal Reiki or animal meditation to help support the whales, which is what I'm going to be working on, trying to get to present to them, to have them maybe just entertain the idea that the emotional needs of the animals could be supported through meditation. And we'll see where that goes. But if all of you are, if we're all working together to elevate that energy, then anything is possible. Mel, you have your hand up. Yes.
Yeah. So that was beautiful, by the way. A friend of my mom's, her cat was just in the hospital a few times. She was diagnosed with pancreatitis. So, and she asked me to do a session with her. And so on Sunday, I tried to connect with her to introduce myself like I usually do. And the cat was just like, yeah, not so. This is the first time it was like not a no, but just, yeah, I'm too busy. She was licking, I get visuals. So she was just licking her paws and just wasn't so into it. And I was like, okay, you know, that's fine. I'll come back later, you know, when you're not busy, you know. And as soon as I stepped away, my cat was in my lap. Instantly, she reached out to me. And because it was distant Reiki, my cat Dusty, he acted as a channel. While I was petting him, it just the emotions just started coming in, and I felt the energy just wrap around her like a blanket, like a warm blanket. And it was just, so he was acting as a channel for me, which is the first time. So that was a really cool experience to be able to ask him for, because I asked my girl, she didn't want to help out. So, and he was ready. He sat in my lap and he just sat there with me the whole time while I was doing the distance session with her. And oh my God, it's like, it's always amazing how the light and the love and the emotions just are so overwhelming. And I love distant Reiki is my favorite because it works. It works. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are, it works. Animal, people, it's just situations. Anything, distant Reiki has so much power behind it. It is just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. And we don't get caught up in that visual. But so you brought up a really interesting point about a proxy. So a lot of times we used to, and I know Kelly learned this, and I don't know if Jamie learned this way or not, but Kathleen would teach with a stuffed animal. I don't have a stuffed animal, but let's just say this is it. And then you could use the stuffed animal as a proxy, right? But then you're focusing on your hands when you do that. And so we stopped doing that. But in support of what Mel said, I have done that with my dogs, ask them, like especially if I'm going to do a distant session and I'm feeling like, I need more, I'll ask my dogs to help. And like with Mel's got 3 cats. Maybe one will come and support, or maybe they'll kind of support from a distance, or maybe they'll come in my lap and then I can actually do what Mel is doing, petting. And I noticed too that when that happens, when the animals support that, it is stronger. And that I think is because the animals are all connected, right? And so they're just really kind of supporting. Yeah, like Kelly said, Bo, her cat, Bo, her little orange and white guy, he'll have her. It's okay for us to ask our animals to help us. So if you want help with the orcas or the whales or other horses or whatever that is, ask your animals to help. Say, I would love for you to help me do this. And then the more you do the distant sessions, the more they'll just start to come to you. And yeah, oh, it's meditation time. Great. Let's do this. I mean, who knows what's really happening in that animal realm that we can't even really touch. We get glimpses of it, but we're human, they're way up here. And we're just like trying, we see little clouds part and go, oh, it's there, boom, come crashing to the ground, right? Because then our mind gets involved in all this stuff. But in the meantime, just like open our minds to that there's so many possibilities. We can let go of those limits and be in that expansive energy of the Reiki space. And now anything is possible. Now we know, oh yeah, my cat's connected with that. We're all connected to this. And then yes, a constant practice of letting go. And here's the thing about letting go. When you grip onto something, you're gripping onto an outcome. Guess what happens when you let go? How easy is that? Just let go. And now it's gone. And now you can go, okay, I'm free. There's freedom in letting go. There's so much space in letting go. And your ego, your ego is like, I can't do it. It's got to look like this. And it's like, no, it can look like anything. And once we do that, then everything starts to happen, right? All possibilities. Just like with the orcas. Who would think that a conversation that Bruce and I are having would make them so happy, and not even just from Bruce, but from the other animal communicator who didn't really know anything about this. And she's like, I don't know what's happening, but they are so happy about this animal Reiki. They're so happy at the thought of this, I guess, or whatever that is. She said that they're just very happy. Whatever is happening, and they are elated. So that's really important. I wanted to share that with you because, of course, we have animal communicators talking with the orcas, but there's all these other animals, like what Anne brought up, that we can help support. Maybe like that, our dedication to all sentient beings, and know that just that phrase, that intention, boom, your love and light is going out. Who knows how much we're elevating? Who knows if we weren't doing this, how dark our world might be, right? We don't know. So we just keep giving light, and spreading the light, like in this group together. And we'll do a meditation soon. We're all just going to create this big ball of light that's going to shine so bright like the sun. And it's going to reach all of those beings that we're dedicating that practice to. So Jamie, I don't know if you want to add some more to this.
No, you've said it beautifully, and it's really, really true. We share our love, we share our light, and that's what holds the space for all the animals, and they do get excited. I think that's really cool. The message that he got, that they're excited about it.
Yeah, I know. And imagine, if we had animal communicators talking to all the animals, they would probably all be excited, all be thankful, all be grateful, like, oh, wow, that was so nice. Yes, we love that. We want to connect on that level, right? They just like
Yeah.
connect with this, okay, I'm going to come, I'm going to meditate with you. This is so serious. Love and light, love and light. No, it's oh, love, light, right? Love and
Yeah.
light is light. Just when we're serious, we're like this. Remember the smiling meditation? We close our eyes, we think about something that makes us giggle, we smile. But as soon as we stop that thought and we come down, we're into neutral, it doesn't even feel good. We could feel our heart go heavy. So we smile. We could come to them with love, come to them with joy. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to be here with you, right? Like Mel, I just love how you always share your sessions. You're always so excited. You're always so, oh my gosh. And that's the energy that we have to cultivate within us. So we have a couple, so we want to have time for this meditation. So we have a couple minutes. Does anyone else want to ask questions or share something about distant treatments or, just anything? No one? Come on, ladies. It's a safe. Okay, Anne, yes?
I just sent a note there. I would be interested in hearing some of the verbiage that others use when they are putting themselves out there about what we do.
Yes, I would love that too, because that's a question that's coming up, and we're going to be talking about that on Saturday at the Sarah meeting, just kind of workshopping. How are we going to talk about this so that we feel so confident? So what are you saying? Mel, what do you say you do? Because I know you're out there sharing all about this all the time.
Yeah, I actually just printed out a whole bunch of flyers and I just ran around town with all my flyers. So I had a lot of practice this week. Well, it depends on who I speak with and depends on where, I always go off the person's energy and see how I can, use the correct words for them to understand what it is and for them not to get the wrong idea of it. So I guess it all depends on, I guess, like I said, who I'm speaking with. But normally I just tell them that I work with animals and then I tell them, it's a form of Reiki, and that it's meditation based. And people are like, they're like, yeah, I've heard of Reiki, but the meditation part of it is always new to them. So I go into it just a little bit and just explain, that we don't use hands-on because there's no need for it, and again, especially people who have, who know about Reiki are very surprised by that. And I don't know, it's just, again, I don't know, it's just weird. It's different in each case, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
but when I'm done speaking with the person, they're just so intrigued by it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, they're like, absolutely, I'll because on my flyer I mentioned let animals lead way.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that on there because this is what I practice. So I put that on there,
Absolutely.
with the Sarah logo and things. So I put that on there because it's part of that's what I want them to know. And so they have a little bit of information to read on the flyer by itself. So, and when they read it, they're very intrigued by the fact that there is no hands-on needed,
Mm-hmm.
and that the animals, and then I tell them a story if I have time. If they're not too busy, I give them an example, and there's always a smile on people's faces. Always. I never leave without people having a smile on their face, and the vibration just changes. And that's all you really need is for it to change their vibration a little bit, just to have them interested in, just have them smile, because when they smile, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love too how you say, because a lot of times we say, well, I do animal Reiki, and we don't follow up with, but it's just meditation based. Because as soon as you say, if they know anything about Reiki, they think hands-on. If they don't know about Reiki, then it's a strange word to them. But when you say meditation on the end of that, then they go, oh, well, meditation, I understand. Meditation, I get the benefits of, but how does that work with animals? So I love that. Kelly, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I really like that Mel talked about her audience, and I think that's huge. I mean, I would say something different to a vet than I would to somebody who practices yoga or teaches yoga or something like that. So it really is about meeting them where they are with their understanding of the kind of work that we do, whether we want to talk about meditation or we want to talk about, it's based in Reiki or whatever, it really has to do with where they are, and really getting that that feel off of them of how deep we go into what we're talking about, or if we just keep it sort of very general.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes though, when you're presenting, you don't know who your audience is, right? So you might not know if you have vets, you might not know if you have people who understand Reiki, you might not know who you have. So then for a presentation, you have a little more leeway to kind of put a little bit of everything in there so that you're
kind of start small and then build on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that too. And we can talk about that on another meeting. But yeah, I like the audience, like know who you're talking to, and then make it very simple about saying it's meditation based, because yes, we do Reiki, but when you look at what we do and you compare it to Western Reiki, or even, the traditional Reiki wasn't done with animals. We're doing this with animals. It's not human Reiki adapted for animals. It's its own lineage. It's its own special techniques. So, sharing that too. This isn't human Reiki adapted for animals. This is meditation based. And meditation, thankfully, is so popular now that everybody understands meditation. But don't forget, in the 70s, and those of us who are old enough to remember this, the 70s, meditation was woo-woo and crazy. Nobody was meditating. It was not a cool thing to do. You didn't meditate unless you were a crazy hippie. And if you were a crazy hippie, you were like on the outskirts of civilization. You were just an outlier in the worst possible way, right? But look how far we've come, and I can see where animal Reiki, I don't know about human Reiki as much, but animal Reiki, because of the way we practice, because we're focusing on meditation, there is a chance that we could be just as popular as meditation in the future. So really like planting these seeds of a better way to be, right? Because meditation, the reason it caught popularity is because they started to understand, wow, it actually does have benefits. It's not just for crazy hippies, and the crazy hippies did know. And so we're like the crazy hippies of the 70s. We're like, hey, connect with your animal in this way, dude, like that. But instead, what we're doing is it actually is effective. So just remember that, everybody was an outlier at some point. I remember Sergey Brin, who the creator of Google, said that even a cell phone was science fiction at one point. And now it's part of our everyday life. At one point, this was completely unimaginable to have a computer in your, even when cell phones first came on the market. Who would have thought they would become a computer that we could carry in our pocket? Nobody. It was stuff of science fiction. Obviously, tech moves a lot faster than well-being, but still, if we can all just be sharing our light, we have that chance to really expand and have it catch on like wildfire. And it will, it's coming. I hope in our lifetime, especially for those of us who are older, but definitely in some of the younger, yeah, right, Wilma? Yeah, just we're going to keep pushing on. So I want to share a really special meditation. Kelly knows this meditation, Jamie does, and those of you who have taken the Animal Reiki for Reiki Practitioners class more recently, it is the Sun and Moon meditation. And the purpose of this is because there is wisdom in the sun, there's wisdom and compassion, there's wisdom and compassion in the sun, there's wisdom and compassion in the moon. And we are a part of that light, the light of the sun, the light of the moon, they are a part of the light within us. So we are going to imagine on our left side, we're going to create, and I'm going to walk you through it, moon energy on our left side. So the cool, calm, beautiful, brilliant light of the moon. And then we are going to create sun energy on our right side. And, beautiful, warm, golden, healing light of the sun. And together we're going to merge those at our hearts. So before we do that, let us go into Gasho. Let us set our intent that we're open to receive whatever it is that we need most at this moment in time. And we dedicate this practice to all sentient beings. And let us also just take a moment, if there's any special animals, people, or situations that you feel need extra support, just take a moment and add them to this beautiful healing circle we are creating. The light and love that we are creating is going to go so far. And remember, energy knows no time or space. So if you end this meditation and think of people or situations you should have put in, just dedicate this practice we're creating to them, and they will receive the full benefit. So whenever you're ready, I want you to put your hands face up on your lap. We're going to take a couple cleansing breaths, breathing in deep into our hara, pulling that breath deeper still, and then slowly releasing your breath out your mouth. Just do that a couple more times. And as you release your breath, release all tension you're holding on to in your body. Feel your shoulders relax, your neck soften, your jaw relax. Oh, you start to breathe easier. And whenever you're ready, just focus on a nice, gentle breath into the hara and out, either through your nose or your mouth. Now I'd like you to imagine there's the moon underneath your left foot. Feel your foot resting on this full, luminous moon. And now I'd like you to imagine there is a sun under your right foot, a ball of warm, healing light. As you stand on the sun and the moon, feel the blessing they are giving you, that all of your steps you take will be infused with wisdom and compassion. Bring your attention to your hands, and in your left hand sits a full moon, and in your right hand sits a warm, glorious sun. Feel their blessing that all the work you do with your hands, all that you touch is infused with wisdom and compassion. Bringing your attention up to your eyes, feeling a left moon, a full moon at your left eye, and the warm, glorious sun at your right. And feel their blessing that all that you see not only with your physical eyes, but with your mind, is infused with wisdom and compassion. I'd like you to imagine the light of the moon growing brighter at your hands and at your eye and at your foot, and the light of the sun growing brighter at your foot, your hand, and your eye. The left side of your body illuminated with the moon's energy, the right side of your body illuminated with the sun's energy. Now feel the sun and the moon at your feet, traveling up through your legs, into your knees, your thighs, up your body and into your heart, where they merge together and create a bright, healing light. The sun and the moon at your hands start to travel up your arms, into your shoulders, and down into your heart, further infusing your body with light and love, wisdom and compassion. And now feel the bright moon at your eye and the healing sun at your other eye. Feel them getting brighter and brighter, filling your head and coming down your neck into your heart, and further infusing your body with love and light and wisdom and compassion. As you breathe in and out, the light within your body grows brighter and brighter and brighter. You are a perfect balance of wisdom, compassion, love, and peace. Just take a moment and breathe in and out and feel the lightness in your body. Feel yourself dissolving into this beautiful light. And in this light, all connection is possible. Maybe different animals come to this light. Maybe it's the orcas, the whales, horses, tigers. In this light, you are connected to all beings. And you feel their love and light being mirrored back. We are all deeply connected in this space. And let's just take a moment and really feel this deep connection. We are going to come back by bringing our hands into Gasho, but we are not closing out this feeling. We're not closing this meditative space. We're going to bring this space with us throughout our day, into our night, into tomorrow, into our week, into the month, into the rest of our days, knowing that we can easily tap back into this meditation, into this vibration, and into this light. We are always connected to this light we've created. So let us give thanks for all who joined us. Let us give thanks to ourselves for coming today and for creating this beautiful space. And for those of you who are listening later, you are joining us and you are just as much a part of this space as if you were here with us. And so we take some deep breaths in and out, bringing ourselves back to our body. We rub our hands. We open our eyes and thank you. Gosh, doesn't that feel so good? Don't you feel just so light and happy? I love this meditation so much because it just really reminds us that we are that light, and the light of the moon and the light of the sun. That's easy to connect to, especially on a full moon, right? You could just go back to this place, go out in the sun. I'm in that light. I'm part of that light. So thank you all so much. Leah, I'd love for you to just stay on if you can, because we can just use this call. And for those of you, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. It's so wonderful here. And I'm so glad you were able to come. Mary Lynn, so great to see you. Brittany, thank you. Wilma, always a pleasure to see you. Maud, thank you. Maud's joining us from way across the pond. So love to see you. I think it's nighttime there for you. And Darlene, so happy you could join us. Yay. Gwen, so good to see you again. Thank you so much. I'm so honored that you came. Beth, always a pleasure seeing you. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. And Mel, always. And Jamie, thank you so much. And everyone, we had a really wonderful call. I hope you feel so much light and just hopefulness, right? We're living in a great world, you guys. It's all in how we perceive it. It can be like the best world in the world, or it can be the crappiest. We're going to choose the best. Yes.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Leah, for doing this every week.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to see everyone. Thank you.
Bye.